where dreams collide. Sarah's voice, a gentle guide through the realms of time and space. She takes us to a sacred place.
I'm a very young boy,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it's somewhere in Asia, Japan or China, and I can see a good-sized village. I'm on the outskirts of it, like between the forest and the village.
Tell me what you can see as far as the village. How would you describe it?
Um, it's kind of like middle class. It's not poor, not wealthy. People have what they need to survive, to live on.
What does it look like from your vantage point there as you see it?
It's kind of up on a hill. I'm kind of in like a valley. Now I'm kind of walking like through a meadow,
Uh-huh.
and the village is kind of up on a hill.
Okay. What does this meadow look like that you're walking through?
Um, Very tall, thin grasses. And on the other side, looks like it could be like a rice paddy. I see water and shorter grasses to the left of me.
Oh, okay. And do you get a sense as to what the temperature feels like? What does it feel like to you?
Feels like the late spring, early fall, like it's 50, 60 degrees.
Uh-huh.
It's a sunny day.
Are there any smells that you notice there? Any fragrances in the air anywhere or no?
I could smell like a wood oven or stove out in the distance. Um, Other than that, no specific smells.
If you focus in on yourself there and you look down or sense down, do you sense or see any feet there? As you said, you felt like you were a little boy.
Yeah, yeah, I see I see shoes, more like boots, and like a it's not a dress, but kind of like a robe, like a dress, more like what a woman would wear in this age, but it's made of like a silkish material. And I have like a little hat on. It's round and kind of has like a little dome or point on it.
What color is it? Do you notice?
Um, it's like brown around like there's a circle part, and then that's brown, and then the top is like made of metal, some type of
Hmm.
like goldish, bronzish metal.
How does it feel on your head?
Um, it feels doesn't feel too heavy. It feels like normal for a kid that age.
Okay. And how would you describe your outfit there, that robe? What does it look like?
Um, it has like a sage green and tan, and white has like a little embroidery on it. Trying to see if it's not flowers. Maybe it's like I don't know, cherry blossoms. So I don't know if it's like I said, Japan or China, but some
Huh.
sort of like fruity flower
Wow.
design.
Hmm. And do you notice if you're carrying anything with you? or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty young, but surprisingly enough, I have there's something over my back, like containers. I think there's arrows in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm probably a little older than I first thought. I felt very young, but now I feel like around 10 or 12 years old.
And what does it look like you are doing there?
Looks like I probably was out. There's no one else with me, but I feel like maybe hunting for some game, trying to collect some food for a family.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbits come to mind.
Uh-huh. See? Does it look like you caught anything today?
Yes, I have two rabbits also on my back.
Okay. And what else do you notice? Are you going back or what are you doing now?
I'm
Are you,
going towards the village, but I'm
oh,
a ways out. So there was the forest where I came out, and the grasses, and now walking towards the village.
I see. And how do you feel there? Do you get a sense? How does your body feel? And
Very, very happy, very joyful, um, very proud to be part of whatever community this is. Feel like um, I don't see like a mother or father, but I feel like, I have a family that's very well respected.
oh, tell me
And,
about your family there.
um, mother and father. The father seems to be like a leader of that particular village, kind of like head of the village.
Oh, how would you describe him? And
Uh,
do you get a sense what he looks like?
yeah, really big, strong, muscular guy with a mid-length beard. Um, has a hat similar to the one I'm wearing,
Mm-hmm.
more appropriate, obviously, for his size and age. There's a big, now I'm starting to walk into the house. I don't see the outside so much, but as I walk in, there's like a dirt floor, a lot of wooden furniture. There's a big, it is the middle of the day, but it's cool out. There's a big fire in the fireplace, and there's like a pot of something cooking. It smells like a stew or something over the fireplace.
Wow. Tell me more about this place.
Um, I'm not exactly sure where it is, but I feel like it's maybe the year 5 to 700, like many, many ages ago.
What
Um,
what makes you say that?
just a feeling that I have, just
Okay.
like a knowing. Um, I feel that it's a very prosperous time. Seems like it's I just feel like a happiness and like a very content feeling amongst this community. Um, in the past, there were a lot of wars, and right now, this is a time of peace. As I was floating down from clouds, I started seeing war, like almost like the Shogun
Uh-huh.
era era. And but when I landed at the time I came down was a time of peace.
Oh, wonderful. And could you tell me more about your community there? So your father is like a leader. Could you tell me more about this community?
Um, yes, they. I don't know if this is right, but they are descendants from the people of Shambala.
Oh, okay. And tell me about this. What is this? What is this place that they are descendants from?
Was um, it it was a place that was like perfect utopia. There was no war, only love, prosperity. People lived to be 500-600 years old. And then there were some ETs that came down and interfered with the culture, with the environment. And there were wars and floods. And I feel like, this is normal. I feel like I'm shifting back further.
Tell me everything that you notice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like this beautiful mountaintop country in the area of the Himalayas, Shambala. Much wisdom and beauty was created. It exists as another dimension here today, and only those that have reached a certain vibrational frequency are able to access it and experience it. It could be part of the future split that we were talking about earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a place that is realized in the physical form, not just through a feeling or out of body experience.
And so your community come from this place. Can you tell me more about this magical, mystical place, Shambhala?
Yes, it was created as a place of worship by ETs that were escaping their planet due to persecution of beliefs and freedoms.
The ETs were escaping their planet because of this?
Yes, the people that founded this are not of this earth.
Do you did you ever hear the stories or understand where they came from?
I'm hearing the word Pleiadian or
Uh-huh.
Pleiades.
Okay. And so
I
they
don't I don't feel this story. The Pleiadians are talked about in many, many different situations, but I don't believe this story has been revealed yet.
came escaping persecution. Did anyone ever tell you the reason or what they were escaping because of saying or what belief was bad? Why did they need to escape?
I don't have all of the details, but what I feel it was a time on the planet very close to where we are now, where the artificial intelligence and humanity were coexisting and trying to rival each other. And some people felt that they had the technology to go off planet, and they, the, the people or whoever was the leaders at that time wanted all of the humanity to convert to AI, and they did not want that.
Oh, and so they sought solace in this place in
Yes,
the Himalayas.
yes.
I see. And how did your community become a part of this place?
It wasn't originally, it's hard to put into words, but I get the sense that the place where I'm living now, people moved there. Like it wasn't the same exact location that was the original spot. Like they're the descendants, like something happened to it. It was destroyed.
Oh,
And before the destruction, people knew it was coming
do you
and
get a
moved away.
do you get a sense where the original spot was? Was it close or far away from where
It,
this Shambhala was?
yeah, I feel like Shambhala was definitely in the Himalayan region, so I I'm not sure of the geography exactly, but I feel this was at least, if not a continent away, at
Mhm.
least 1,000 to 500 miles away from where the original colony was established.
I see. And did the extraterrestrials that were escaping, did they come to this original spot? Is that
Yes, yes, and I believe there are many. I'm feeling that there are many other types of um, people or ETs that came. This was one of the type that represents what we commonly, I hate to use label, but Asian, like that's what they look like now is what they look like when the ETs are the humans that are here today over in Asia, part of many that came from other planets to inhabit this earth.
why did they come to this earth? Were they all escaping or were there other reasons?
The group that I seem to be associated with was coming to escape
Mm.
AI. They were very advanced beings, far more powerful light workers than we know of today, could do miraculous healings. People would live 500, 600 years, but that wasn't enough. They wanted to be immortal. And through the AI technology, greed took over. Longevity was more important than the human spirit.
And these people or these extraterrestrials that uh, crash landed or that were there, sorry. Um, how did how did they look? You said they looked very similar to the Asian race. Could you describe what
Yes.
they looked like there?
Yeah, a little different. I see a bluish hue to the skin. A lot of the facial features of these original colonists, similar to Asians, but with a slight, now that I'm looking closer, slight blue to the skin. They were quite a bit taller as well
Hmm.
as compared to our current day and age. And they just had magical, and there was no disease.
Oh, tell me more.
You know, the dying was very, very different. It was celebrated and planned, and really, there was the air was clean. They did eat food like normal humans, but there was no disease, dying. Death was not feared. Everyone was embraced. Ideas were exchanged. No judgment. Only high level of unity and love permeated them. Very gentle souls, not warring at all.
Once, once they came there and they inhabited this place, then what happened to them? Did they breed with humans or no?
Yes, yes. So going back to what I said earlier, now that I can see more clearly, they inhabited with the indigenous population in that area. They taught them their ways. They were very frightened and fearful. At first, they saw them as gods, otherworldly,
Mm-hmm.
but in time they came to trust, form relationships, cooperate, and then they interbred and formed the ancestors of this young boy and
How did
future generations that we see now.
how did they interbreed? Do you get a sense?
This is so strange. It was almost at the beginning, the first few generations, it was almost telepathically,
Hmm.
much like the way Jesus was born, Jesus Christ was born of Mary, similar to that.
Do you explain it to me? I'm so curious. What do you see? Where, how?
I see an intention to have a child. I see a beautiful light coming down, hitting the male of the species, and then the same intention coming from the mother, and they're holding hands. And it's not romantic or physical in nature, but they incarnate a life in the womb of the woman.
Wow.
And that did not last past a couple generations. I don't have the information why, but I feel that something disrupted their world, some sort of either natural event or another race or species of ETs coming down and trying to control. They could have even been the same ones that they were fleeing from. That is not clear to me.
Wow. So this has trickled down into the same race as this boy. So this
Yes,
boy has this community that were survivors of this original place.
that's correct.
Oh, I see. And it is now a time of just unity and peace. So
Yes, no warring is going on at the present moment.
that's wonderful. And how do you spend your days in this place? I know you said you went hunting, and is there anything else that you do during your day?
Um, there are studies that go on, agriculture for, unfortunately, just the boys in the village, um, and not all of them, just a select few, I think, from some of the families that are the leaders in the community. They learn about agriculture, how to farm, how to keep people safe, very basic mathematics. A lot of the healing, some of the healing is still there, more in the form of like a Reiki type practice.
Oh, how would you describe that?
Um, Very similar to what we have today, where they had like meditations and a series of symbols that they would use to invoke the energy. And they could do some small healings if people, let's say, headaches, minor things, very deeply connected to source, but the advanced technologies and healing techniques are either lost or made somehow to be incapacitated. I don't know how, but in some way incapacitated.
So these techniques were different before?
They were very advanced technologies, things that you and I might see in a science fiction movie. Some of it was just using laying of hands and healing. A lot of it was people would just lay down on a bed with like some sort of laser or light would just pass over them, diagnose what the issues were, and then a healer would come and program the machine, and different, depending on what the issue was, they would prepare a protocol, but was very little, if there was very little disease at all, but any disease that they had could and would be healed.
Does it look like the technology they're using, um, does any of it look familiar to you?
But it reminds me of things in futuristic movies, what I see now, where it's like a very slim bed. People lay on it, and then it looks like there's a cover, some sort of cover they get into, and they lie in that, and the machine scans them. And I believe the machine can do the healing, and so can the humans that are with them,
Mm.
the
Oh,
human ETs that have come down. Not the ETs that evolve into the humans that originally came down.
oh, okay. Interesting. Does it look like it's required to, so you said the human can also do the healing, but does it look like they need this technology to heal, or they could just heal without it?
Looks like they can do both. They
Oh,
can they
okay.
can heal without it, and it's very, they have equipment, and then a lot of what they do is it's very telepathic, the healing, and just a lot of people can self heal as well too. If they get a sense something is off, it gets corrected very quickly.
That's amazing. So, so in your community, there are different classes, but what about you? Do you take it any class that's specific?
Um, I'm not taking a healing class. It seems like in this particular community, a lot of the healing is practiced through women in in the descendants of this original community, and it is the responsibility of the women and the girls. We all know some basic healing, but they are they are the healers for the most part in this particular community.
Do you get a sense as to why?
I believe it's because in the past, women assisted more than men in being peacekeepers, in being trusted with the knowledge, and like a sacred feminine. It sounds, I don't know if that's what's
No, it
coming
makes
to me.
sense. Hmm, okay, interesting. So you don't particularly learn what do you for healing, but what do you learn there?
Um, I learned more, it's more focused on protecting, ensuring that if there are any future wars, that like combat training, things of that nature, very basic healing. So let's say a man was out on the battlefield, there were not a lot of women around, we could do some very minor self-healing, but not reversal like of a disease or a disease state. That
How
was more the responsibility of women in the village.
how would you go about self-healing there?
Focusing on the intention of whatever the issue was, focusing it in your mind's eye as going away, as healing, as fully healed. Didn't really require laying of hands as much as the traditional Reiki that I learned, but more of a telepathic, um, envisioning or meditating for the healing to occur.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. And could you tell me more about how you spend your days there? So you have this community and you hunt and you learn certain things. And what else do you notice that you do?
Because of the age that I'm in, there's a lot of um, animals. There's cows, geese, donkeys. So it's not per se a farm because they seem to be more vegetarians,
Hmm.
but upkeep and responsibilities, chores with watching over those animals, making sure they're fed, they're cleaned. We do have horses we use as well for transportation, care and feeding of those animals. Um, and the days are spent mostly maintaining those animals, um, some basic schooling, mathematics, language, and hunting and fishing are the favorite thing this boy likes to do, and especially when he can with his father.
Oh, that's wonderful. Can you tell me about what the language looks like? How would you describe what it looks like?
Very similar to Japanese, that type of, I forget the exact word, but it's like Japanese, Chinese types of images and pictures that I see where there's symbols, the language, each character is a symbol that creates the word. It is not the normal alphabet that
Oh,
we know.
okay. Oh, okay. And what about the mathematics? Do you notice? How do you feel when you learn about this math? And what type of math do you notice it is?
The math itself, based on age of this child, is it's beyond basic. It is more of a like algebra, equation, problem solving type of math. And that's about as high as they go. They're also very much into trigonometry. They use it in building of houses, whatever types of structures or equipment. They are very well versed in that math field.
Wow, interesting. Is there anything else that you notice about um, what is happening in this scene that looks important or interesting?
The scene that I envision now is it's a happy family. It's like they are sharing a meal. The mother, father, there's two brothers, both younger, and then a baby sister.
What does your meal look like?
It is in a bowl, very not round, it has angular edges. I see steamed, it looks like steamed white rice, vegetables, steamed vegetables in a broth. I see chopsticks. I don't see forks, knives. Don't see any bread, butter. It's just a small bowl with those ingredients that I described.
What sort of things do you talk about during this meal?
We talk about, in this particular day, it sounds like there may be some festival or some sort of community gathering coming up. I'm not sure what it's for. Maybe I'm thinking for planting, because it seemed like it was maybe late winter, early spring. So maybe there's a harvest, or a planting season coming up, or it could be religious ceremony. I'm not exactly sure about, they do believe in a higher source. I'm not exactly sure about what type of religion it is. They
Oh,
do believe in a higher power,
what
higher
makes you
source.
say that? Why do you feel they believe in that?
Um, I don't know why the word Shinto comes to my mind.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And when I hear that word, it feels like it's tied to a belief or practice. I'm using the word religion, but it could be a belief or a practice.
Okay. Interesting. Um, okay. And is there anything else that, oh, let's move to when that festival occurs.
Yes, at this festival, it is like a festival for celebration of the earth, for a prosperous season of growth. It's primarily focused on those rice fields, their
Tell,
growth and prosperity, which it is the main source of food for the people.
wow. Tell me more about this festival.
Um, and then the festival, I don't know how big this community is. It may be bigger than I first pictured, because they do have women dressed in these beautiful silk kimono. What I would use the word kimono to describe. People playing instruments, um, lots of children frolicking, running around. There's music. So just a very, very relaxed, free, inviting, unifying time for the community to come together. As what I see is they rely on each other. They all get together and plant these fields because each one of their livelihoods depends on it. There are some people that manage the fields and control where the grain is stored so that everybody will get their fair share, but they all share together. It's not one person who does everything. It's a community.
Oh, beautiful. That's amazing. And what is your role there? What do you do during this festival?
During this festival, I'm just observing everything going on. I'm playing with friends, relaxing, taking in the music, and then there is some sort of traditional meal that is served as part of this ceremony. I don't know why, again, it sounds silly, but it somehow involves eggs.
Tell me about it.
So, in addition to the meal I described, there are little, I don't know, poached, but there are, could even be raw, there is a cracked egg in every bowl, in addition to the original meals that these people eat on a day-to-day basis. And I get the sense the egg has to do with fertility of the land,
Uh-huh.
maybe prosperity and fertility of the people. And it's not horrible, but now I am seeing a couple animal sacrifices of, again, I don't know why, but they seem to be chickens in this regard. I think they have very few big animals in this land. And so, for whatever reason, they have sacrificed some birds as part. There's like a ritual ceremony that takes place, like a blessing or invocation. All the people are gathered around while the animals are being sacrificed.
Do you get a sense as to what the purpose of the sacrifice is?
Yeah, I think whatever belief or religion, it's some sort of offering,
Mm.
offering to gods or source, or more of like a primitive offering, as opposed to years ago in that first land. They wouldn't have done things like that. They have drifted and lost their way, but they feel some belief that this will be an offering to the gods for them to somehow provide the best
Mm.
growing and fertile environment for their land, for their people, for the upcoming year.
Does anybody know, or does anybody talk about when that practice started, or no?
It started after that. I'm hearing the word great migration.
Oh,
There was a great migration away from the original colony. And I think, much like we have forgotten our power and our connection, they lost a lot of that, and other populations inbred with them, and some of their more, what you would call, I guess, worship beliefs in other deities, other, I hear the word like a more like pagan, non-spiritual beliefs, brought their customs into this community. And so there's a mix of healing arts, much lower level than I'm thinking. It's like at least a century before. It's what I feel.
oh, okay. Interesting. Um, and do you get a sense where the pagan uh rituals came from?
I don't I
Okay.
don't have information on that right now.
Okay, interesting. So, is there anything else about this ceremony and the sacrifices and the festival that you find interesting or that seems important as you look at it now?
I think what this boy and the community are focused on is, it sounds so simple, but the weather, the environment, that the offerings and part in the people's hopes and wishes for the upcoming year, that the weather, they get plenty of sunshine, that the right environmental conditions present themselves, because in past years, they've had difficulty, either lack of rain, too much sun. So they believe that by having this ritual, it will increase their chances to have a bountiful crop.
Wow. Okay. Let's leave that scene and let's move ahead in time in that same lifetime, the same lifetime, to where something important is happening and be there now. What do you notice now?
It's a very different time. The village doesn't look like itself. People, the prosperity and the livelihoods of these people somehow been diminished. I see lots of warriors. I see fires, some burning of this village. I see armies on horseback with, I don't know the word, but like a shogun type of warrior. Like some shoguns coming into this village, controlling it, taking it over, and under their control, it is not thriving. And this young man is not one of the shogun; he is one of the villagers who is experiencing the savages of this war. They are trained in combat, but they are not the predominant force. These horseback warriors are, and it's not only this community, but other communities have been what you call raided by these warriors.
Wow. And tell me more about yourself there. Um, so how would you describe yourself there?
I have my own family now, married, have a wife, two young sons. We did, before I was married, we did put up, so we have been rated for quite a while, or now it's to the point where we're overtaken. So we did put up a fight, a resistance, but we did not have the manpower to overcome these raiders.
Tell
And
me.
so now we have a very meager existence under their rule. They're controlling us now.
How do they control you? What is that like for you?
We're no longer in charge of our own lives. We don't have food, water, shelter has been reassigned. They're controlling where the people live. They ration out the food. We don't even there is a small group that takes care of the animals, but it's not that community spirit that we once had. It's very much structured like it's not a government, but much like very orderly, not community. And there's a lot of distrust amongst people, hoarding food away when people get it, paying of favors to these controllers to get extra food. And they don't have really a currency, so often you may have to part with something in your house to trade or barter.
Wow. And tell me about how you spend your days there. So you have a family of two young sons. How do you spend your days there?
It's a very quiet, boring life. We are allowed to do some hunting for ourselves, so I like to take my sons fishing and hunting. It provides a little bit extra food, although the game is not as plentiful as it once was. It's just been, for whatever reason, not available to people. So we have to go a little further away to find areas where we can still hunt and fish and bring back food to our family. We are getting by. No one is starving, but it's not a happy existence. We pray that this environment somehow will turn around, but it's not very hopeful. It's very sad, and it's very strict environment. You have to be careful what you say, what you do. Yeah, it's just a totally different village.
Wow. Gosh. What about your sons? What are they like? What kind of things do they do?
Um, they are required to, even at the very early age, they are be in some sort of combat training because it's expected that they may go away someday and be swept up into whatever military force and go out wherever they're told. So early age, not all day, but part of the day, they will do that. They will do reading and writing with their mother. There really are no schools. They don't care about that. The people that are controlling us, they want us to grow food for them so we can eat and they can eat. They control us. And as a husband and a father, it's very depressing. It's not
Yeah.
a lot we can do. I just want to keep my family safe and alive. And I do that by doing what's ever asked of me from these people.
Wow. And tell me about these controllers. Do you get a sense as to like where they come from? Do they look any different than you guys? You said they were on horseback. They were like
Yeah,
these warriors?
yeah, it seems like they come from the south, from another part of this territory. Um, the word, it's not even an emperor at this point, but there is some head government, and we have been so far removed from it. We knew of it, but they want to convert everyone to being under the rule of this government, emperor, leader, whatever
Wow.
they may call this person at this time.
Um, do you get a sense what their belief systems are? Do they have any type of religion that you're aware of?
The religion is, it's based in part in some of the, what we would now, I don't know, the word Shinto is coming to
Uh-huh.
me again.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
don't know what that means, but they do believe, they believe that this leader is descended from God, although the people in this village do not share those beliefs, and that everyone is subject to their rules, their regulations, controlling so many aspects of their life. And there are people in the South that are part of the emperor's court. There's a select few that have much more freedoms and are not controlled to the degree, but it seems in this particular environment, these people um, don't have any defenses, but they want the land. They really want to. What I'm hearing is convert people away from having spirituality and beliefs in the higher source to the belief that this one person is the higher source, immortal, not someone from a higher realm or another dimension.
Oh, wow. Are they able to, does it look like they're able to do that?
They are on the surface. People have to say they agree or they will be tortured or killed.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep their old ways, the healing and things like that, to themselves. Only when it's necessary. They don't talk about that. They never dare say anything against rules given to them, where they can live, what they can eat, where they can go. They cannot disobey these people that are controlling them for fear of loss of life.
Is there anything else that looks important or interesting that you notice in this scene?
And just how much these two boys look up to this father. They're very proud of him. He spends so much time with them, which is one of the few benefits of this life. You most likely wouldn't have this amount of free time if it were in a different circumstance.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's leave that scene and let's move ahead in time in that same lifetime to the last moment of that life and be there now. What makes it the last moment?
The young boy is now a very old man, and he has moved. The village is no longer there. His sons have gone into and been controlled to go to fight whatever wars or controlling conflicts this government has passed. He's remembering his life as the young boy, all the happy times that he had, his mother and his father, and hopes for the descendants to break free this control as he passes.
Tell me about what it's like as he passes.
You're seeing this beautiful, bright light, some hints of aqua blue in it. He's being asked to step into the light. And he feels no pain, only happiness and pure joy.
Now let's drift and float away from that lifetime, leaving that person there to continue on their journey. Now I'd like all the consciousness and personality of Cheryl to return. Can I speak directly to your higher self now, please? Can I speak directly to your higher self?
Yes,
Why did you show her this lifetime of all lifetimes? What did you want her to understand?
that she was part of and is part of the most beautiful high level creation, that she is more than she thinks, that she is of God. And she has had this word, Shambala, appear to her, and wanted to explain to her how it relates to her and what a beautiful creation that civilization was with all of the challenges in this life. He wanted to tell and have her learn about something so beautiful, as she has been thinking about this for over 20 years now in her life.
And you said she has been, and she is part of this beautiful um, light. Can you tell me more about how she's more than she thinks she is? What is she a part of?
She is a part of heavenly creation. She is part of the universe, part of source, a light and spark of universal pure love.
Amazing. What is her purpose in this lifetime? What did she come here to do?
She came here to be a grounding force and to learn about energy and to use energy in a positive way and step into a healing, energetic pathway where she can serve. She wants to serve. She doesn't know how or what's right. And we have given opportunity and showed her, but financial and family obligations have overridden this purpose.
Why? Why did that happen to her?
She doesn't come from a family of means, and she had the belief that she could not do this work and provide for her family at the same time, that she would have to sacrifice her family somehow. And to living in that life we just talked about, she felt she's made enough sacrifices in the past, so she has chosen to be on the sidelines and not be in the game, so to speak, of energy healing at this point.
Well, now that she's seen that life and she saw, part of this reason, does she need this anymore? I mean, if she, is supposed to follow a specific purpose, can she change this belief? Can she follow this purpose now, or is there any other reason for her not to?
She can follow, but she is in a very challenging situation where her husband is out of work. She has a very part-time job. And while there is savings, there is still a fear of scarcity and not enough. So when she comes to a place where she can find employment, restabilize, that would be position for her to step onto the path again and give it a try.
Okay, why does she have to experience this? Um, what exactly does she need to do to change these beliefs?
And she needs to trust that the universe will be there for her, that the universe has her back, that whatever she wants to do, she will be successful. And her past experiences will not predict her future outcomes. She has been a soldier. She had all sorts of dreams at the beginning of this experience of battle and war. And that desperation of what life is like, that scarcity is very hard to shake in the human spirit.
Okay, well,
Once you've experienced it so many times, it's hard to shake.
from your perspective, looking at her life, how would you suggest she shakes it?
She needs to have one foot on the path and one foot in her comfort zone and slowly ease her way over onto the full path. She needs to and has been wanting to for the longest time to find this stability in her current career, but it has been a very difficult time in her industry, and it will continue this way for at least another 2 months, given the current economic times and changes in the world.
Okay, well, you said she would also be helped if she trusted the universe. How, I mean, is that enough? Say she understands it'll be about 2 months, is what you just said. If she just trusts, is that really enough? Well, you did say one foot going towards her path and one foot be, focused on something stable. But I mean, could you tell me more about how exactly she should go about this?
She needs to get in with a community of like minded people who can support and she can support and see there is a pathway forward, a purpose. She is not of the type to go out on her own and be the trailblazer to start this new healing career. She will feel safer and feel more success will come if she can have a community to shoulder and listen to and guide and support her. When she finds that place, she will take off. She will be very successful. She may even become very well known if she wants to. But the most important thing is she wants to reach out and help people and to serve and to heal all these traumas, because any of us who are here now, unless we are a fresh soul, have had to deal with a lot of trauma conflict, more than we can bear sometimes.
What what differentiates a fresh soul and someone that's been here for a while?
Fresh soul is like, in her words, like a newborn baby, clean slate, a soul that is a new spark of the divine that the divine has just freshly created and has just breathed into existence and has no, I'm getting the word, it's an original soul.
Wow.
There are very few created, but they do come down on occasion.
Is there anything that differentiates them? Is there any way to tell who they are or no?
They will be the ones that seek the truth and honesty. They will seem naive and uneducated in many ways of the world. It will seem as that, although they are very educated, they are like the lambs of this world, the most generous, kind souls who give without expecting things in return. you will, if you do meet one, you will know it's someone with the highest level of generosity and love, unconditional love that you've ever experienced.
Do they have any physical signs or no?
They they tend to be autistic.
Oh,
Many,
interesting.
many of, not all, but many of children who are being born that have this label, many of them are original souls. Not all of them.
Oh, wow. So you said that you want her to be a healer. How exactly should she go about her healing? Is she aware of the type of healing, and where do you want her to basically focus and study and put the foot into the door of healing people?
She's very fascinated with hypnotherapy. Although this is her first session, she's been wanting this for a while. So we believe to get her on the path that exploring that, she has a lot of interest. She has explored biofield tuning and Reiki. She had a dream, a desire to at some point either run or develop in collaboration with others a facility where there are many types of healing, because one type of healing may not work. So, in other words, a place where if you were directed or gravitate towards Reiki or biofield tuning or past life regression, tapping, whatever it may be, some sort of facility where you would be welcomed and you could more easily access many different types of healing modalities to find what may work for you. She has thought about this, but I'm not sure if this will happen in this lifetime. It may be the next.
Well, what do you suggest then that she does as far as her next steps after the session?
Uh, she should take some time to meditate and really see exactly what her next steps are, where she needs to go, whether that be um, past life regression, studying with you. She's very excited about that possibility. She feels a very strong connection to you. So, really setting herself up to figure out her finances, what she can afford, to get some formal training, and in the meantime, uh, do some more reading. She's very, very, she's like a sponge. Part of the reason why she stays up so late at night. She is a sponge soaking in everything she can about spiritualism energy. So if she can be guided in a meditation to some additional books or learning while she's figuring out finances, next steps, her path, that would be the best for her.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Um, before I ask more deeper personal questions, could you tell me where this place Shambhala is? Because I'm sure she's going to want to know. Or is she already aware?
She is aware. It's in the Himalayas. Many people refer to it as Shangri-La, but it is in the valley of the foothills in the Himalayan mountains. And we talked about it being destroyed, but it does exist, but not in this physical world. You can go there on a vibrational frequency level you can experience it if you have evolved yourself. She is not of that level yet, but she has the memory of it carrying in her soul.
Can you tell me more about that? How would she, I mean, now that she saw this past life, could she just go and align with it, or is there something she needs to do?
She needs to serve. She's been wanting to serve and help others for quite a while, since her college days, actually,
Huh?
when she decided not to go to medical school. So it's some sort of rite of passage where she feels she needs to give back, and then she could she could go there. She probably has more information to share. She was actually being pulled in a lot of different directions, but didn't want to interrupt this story. But she was feeling pulled towards Egypt at one point. The story, I don't know how, but it somehow aligns with that culture as well too. So
Wow, how does this align?
I'm not sure. I think that I'm not sure if it's she's just had lives in Egypt, and this being her first regression, her mind is trying to combine them together. Maybe they are completely separate lives, but for this unique soul, they've experienced life in Egypt and life in Shambala, and she's thinking, maybe this was some sort of, I don't know how it relates, but there could be some sort of relationship to that. And she really had to force out Vietnam as she was going under
Mm.
the.
Was there anything about Vietnam that you want to tell her, as well as is there anything about Egypt that you want to tell her?
She may not like this, but I don't know what part of that Vietnam era, but she was there.
Oh,
And it was brutal and awful. And I think it's some of the trauma that she's carrying with her digestion. Either she absorbed this as a child, the TV was always on, children, absorb things. So she may have got like 2 doses of it, but it seems like she was a very young Marine, died very, very quickly. But all of those terrible battle scenes were coming through for her. So she really had to fight hard to get on that cloud. She was so happy when you put her there. But, but that came through, and she did live in Worcester, Massachusetts. We're not able to give the name, the property and the family name are no longer there, but she did have a past life as a young child there. Beautiful, beautiful little girl, and had an accident riding her horse one day and took her life,
oh, wow.
hit her
Um,
head.
oh gosh. What about Egypt is important for her to understand?
She lived there. She was part of it as well.
What can you
And
tell me about that?
she, I don't think she wants to admit it, but she was part of, I don't know if she was the royalty or she served them, but she was in the presence of one of the pharaohs at the time in Egypt. And she's always been fascinated with archaeology since a young child, read every book she could at the time. And in Reiki meditations, often sees pyramids So it's a very magical place and time for her.
Is there anything else about it that you would like to tell her now about it?
Somehow involved in the life of Tutankhamun and believe she was not of the royalty there, but she was a servant to that family, and that's what her very strong connection is there.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Um, that's very interesting to know. Is there anything else about that that you want to tell her right now?
She was she wasn't trained in spiritual healing, but through the practices that she was exposed to, she was a healer in that lifetime.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wow. Can you tell me what the very root cause of her digestion issues are? The very root, if you can look for the root.
Fear, just fear.
Where does this come from?
Fear of dying, fear of trauma from past lives, fear of not feeling she is good enough, just worrying about others, just if she can figure out how to manage and control her fear better, it will have a huge impact on her life.
What do you suggest she does to control her fear better?
Meditation, more connection, human connection. I know she is very against trying to put herself out and make new friends, but it really would be, even if it could be one new friend, those connections, those bonds help manage fear. They make the world a little more of a secure place
Oh, wow.
feeling. And
S-
also disconnecting more from media, from the media frenzy, uh, and doing her Reiki practice more, really more self-care and all of the anything spiritual that she feels she likes, and not to overthink it. One day she wants to do biofield tuning, do that. One day Reiki, one day yoga, but maybe build some sort of infrastructure where it's on a at least on a multiple bi-weekly or whatever number of days per week where she's doing this.
Wow. Okay. Well, now that she got the message and she understands that the root cause is fear, does she need this fear any longer? And she understands what she needs to do. Does she need to have this issue any longer, this fear?
No, she doesn't need to have the fear, but we feel that some of the past life trauma, she's been in many, many, many wars. Some of that residual will take time, either through meditation or some of the modalities. She still has some fear remaining, and it needs to be worked out. I wish it could all go today, but a large portion will go. And the collective conscious, too. She feels very in tune with everything that's going on this planet, the fires in California, the wars. If there was some way she could somehow keep the empathy but leave the fear.
Well, what do you want to tell her about that? Is that possible?
It is. She needs to do more grounding of her energy, whether that be, it's hard where she lives in cold climate, but maybe there's a device, a grounding device she could use in her home. But she needs to ground her energy and recharge it with the earth or simulate that through some sort of device in
Well,
order to recharge her spirit.
could you give me an idea or give her an idea of what she could do?
There are grounding mats, there are prisms and pyramids that people sell that you can sit in, somehow simulates the grounding uh, properties of the earth. But Sarah, in one of her interviews, talked about when you can go outside sitting cross-legged and putting your palms down and grounding yourself outside, or hugging a tree. There's a lot to do outside, but right now the ground is frozen here and it's not going to be pleasant for her.
Hey, wow, okay. Um, Very interesting. All right. So can you remove as much of the fear as possible right now since she got these messages?
Yes, we feel 85% can go today.
Okay. Okay, great. So, can you release it now then for her?
Yes, we are releasing it now.
Okay, let me know when you're done doing that.
It is finished.
Okay, great. So how should she go about healing completely her acid reflux?
She does need to watch her diet. Her body is repairing from the last episode it had. Really have to avoid sugar, processed foods. Some of the tomatoes, some of the nightshades are not good right now. She should give herself time to heal, a good 30 to 60 days, and then try and reintroduce some of the foods that have been problematic and see how each goes and how they interact with her
Well, why?
digestive system.
Why has have the nightshades been difficult for her to digest?
The nightshades have alkaloid properties, and her digestive system cannot process them well, just the way she was born or her lineage evolved. She is not one that can properly digest some of the foods. She can have them sometimes, but it's not a group, even with the healing, that she's able to completely digest. And we did not get into it today, but at some level she is a star being, and this body, this incarnation, has had difficult time adjusting to the density and the food on the planet.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Is there anything about being a star being that you wish to tell her right now?
That she is from the Pleiades, and she has wondered where she originated, but yes, she is originally from the Pleiades, and she has a star family there in one of the dimensions that watch over her and guide her when needed. And she is so loved, and she has always had this passion to sing, but she does not have the voice here. But she's always wondered and had this echo of being an entertainer on Pleiades. And she definitely did do that. She's been very curious about
What do you want to tell her about this? Can you tell her more about that?
Um, yeah, she wouldn't necessarily like how she looked. Very different. She was blue, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much all blue, with hair, some hair, um, but a very benevolent and loving being, very evolved um, race. And this is going back way, way, way before even the Pleiadians came to Shambala. But she was blue, beautiful indigo blue.
Wow, amazing. That's amazing. Um, okay, so can you heal her acid reflux then, right now?
Yes, we will endeavor to try to heal that right now.
Thank you. What are you doing to do that?
We are going to the cellular level, and each cell, each organelle in the body, it can feel and sense that fear. It comes from a cellular place, and for her, it manifests in her digestion, like many other empaths that are with us today. They all do seem to suffer for some or have an inclination to have digestive challenges. So we're trying to lower that vibration of fear
Mm,
and replace that with harmony and love.
well, thank you. Why do so many empaths have that issue?
They take on the ways and the worries of the world
Mm,
and others. And many have not even found their spiritual path, and without a way to ground, harmonize, balance, it does end up manifesting itself in some shape or form of either fear, and if not fear, anger and resentment for the things that they cannot change in the world.
oh, wow. Huh. Very interesting. Okay. Um, let's see. What about the dark circles on her lower and upper eye socket that she just started seeing recently? What is,
She needs to eat more protein. She recently went through a digestive flare and really is just eating very little and mostly bread. She needs to get more protein, vitamin B12, which she is taking. She needs to get more rest. And with more protein, some of the elastin and collagen in her skin will grow back. It has been diminished due to the lack of good protein source in her diet.
oh, wow. What do you suggest she does?
Slowly start to introduce more protein sources into the meals. She's really only getting about one serving of protein a day. So she's also thought about becoming vegan, but it's she's had challenges with vegetables, and so she hasn't been, let's put it this way, she just has not been adding a lot of protein sources to her diet because she does feel some sadness for the animals that have sacrificed their lives to provide food. But in this instance, we are going to heal that and
Great.
let her give gratitude for every meal that she has to that beautiful animal. But right now, the vegetarian sources of protein will not do the job. It needs to be animal source, not a lot more, but she's eating so little that it is impacting her.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really interesting. Is there anything else about that you want to tell her?
Just that she needs to be more mindful when she eats, chewing every bite, being thankful, give Reiki to the food. If she can give Reiki to the food and drink before she eats it, it's going to digest so much easier in her body. And if she can just really, really try hard, not that she binge eats or eats all sorts of junk, but really try to limit sugar and seed oils, olive oil and butter, a little bit of butter, okay, but other than that, the other oils really are not good for her.
Okay, wow, that's really, really helpful. Thank you for that. Okay, interesting. Um, all right. What about her thyroid? Well, first of all, can you heal and release the dark circles now that she understands this? So she doesn't need the message anymore, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes, we can release it.
thank you. What about her thyroid? She got Hashimoto's so young.
It's not uncommon. The diet in the 70s when she was merely 10-year-old girl, so much chemicals, and very sensitives like herself body could not tolerate it and attacked itself in those cells. And to this day she still thinks it's gluten. Much of the literature says gluten and dairy will cause this. But if she can release the fear, it will improve her digestion so that the gluten can be processed properly and the dairy can be processed properly.
Oh, wow.
It's like leaky gut syndrome. So instead of going in and out of the body, whole little holes form in the digestion, and the gluten and the dairy and many other things get into the bloodstream, and the body sees it as foreign because the cells of the thyroid look very much like gluten, even lectins, which the nightshades have.
Oh,
Gluten is a form of lectin. So if she can heal her gut, that is the main root cause of the Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
that's very helpful. Well, can you heal her thyroid now since she got this message and she's looked deeper into it and understands?
We can, but she would have to avoid dairy and gluten right now until her gut is fully healed. It will take, it's interesting, about the same time for her career, about 60 days.
Okay, well, can you heal it if she does this? So if she does
Yes.
this, can you heal this for her? Okay,
Yes. So if the
great.
digestive tract can heal and she can avoid this, so within 60 days or so from now, she should be able to go back to eat this regularly, but she should
Okay,
try to avoid it for the next 60 days until the body, those holes in the digestive tract, if she continues to eat it, it will not go away. So we need her to hold off on dairy and gluten for 60
okay.
days, and hopefully that will lead to improved digestive health.
Wow, thanks for that. Okay, well, she said it seems that like when one issue is resolved, another issue pops up. What is happening?
That is a very interesting question. I think from what we know of her, it could be attention, where she doesn't have a lot of friends. Her family is her, not her immediate family, but her family. It sounds very odd to say, but the body is presenting these things to fill her plate. and she's allowing it. So if she can, it's some form of, it sounds so unusual, but a way to get some sort of attention, even though it doesn't seem that way to her. It's some form of, her body's like this. There's always, she's giving a lot more attention to herself and her body. And the other thing that is driving this is fear. Again, fear is
Wow.
a main driver. Fear of poor health. She's had these issues so long that what happens is the mind has like a virus in it and starts perpetuating. What if I got this? What if I got that? That was part of the reason why she did not go into medicine, because if she reads too much, she thinks she may have certain issues. So if she can, we feel there is a mind virus that needs to be addressed too. So we will take care of that for today.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
What are you doing? I'll let you do it, but I was just curious so she knows. What are you doing?
We're just, the virus is really deep rooted belief system in that you're not good enough. You don't deserve good health. You don't deserve security, wealth. A lot of our insecurities around money come from these mind viruses. And quite often, her vibration is higher now that she's been practicing Reiki, but some lower dimensional frequencies can get into the belief system and drive this fear-based false belief in lack of anything, lack of whatever may be in your world.
Wow. So are you releasing the fear, this mind virus then?
Yes, I'm releasing the mind virus and asking it to not return. And
Perfect.
it's just, it's like, not that the snake is bad, but it has some elemental essence of the snake. Like it's very sneaky. These viruses just, you know, they just pop into your brain. You don't even know they're there. And then it's very hard to release unless you're doing some type of third party intervention, like with Sarah. It's hard as an individual to just find them, release them. They leave better, faster, easier if they can be acknowledged outside of the person.
Oh, wow. What do you suggest about that? Is there anything that you notice about this?
Now that it's come to her attention, make this a part of her regular Reiki practice. Continuing, she has been working to lift up her vibrational frequencies, and they have come up, but as they are continuing to rise, just always do like a scan, maybe weekly, monthly, just to check in, especially if she does notice some fear returning. That will be an indicator that something may have installed. It shouldn't install as deeply now, but if it does somehow get in through these interdimensional energies that we're experiencing with the shifting of the planet, just simply ask, is it, if it's there, ask it to remove and go back to source.
Okay, wow, that's really helpful. Um, okay, why can't she sleep? What's going on?
Fear,
Oh,
fear, fear, fear.
what does she
She,
need to do?
with some of the other things that we've suggested, you know, um, the spiritual practices, the disconnection, even some of the holistic things she's watching late at night, although they're empowering, educational, some of them also have an element of fear. A lot of the podcasters thrive on that. And while it is a good educational learning opportunity, it's also invoking some sense of fear. And so
Wow.
maybe she can watch those during the day on a work break, but not 15 minutes before she goes to bed. It's just she doesn't even realize it. She's like, "Oh, I've just learned so much about this, and this," but she is one. If she watches a TV show, she watches a podcast, she's being downloaded with certain energies and frequencies, and most of them are benign, but fear is one of the dualities in this simulation, in this game, that is a constant. And so it's something that needs to be managed more directly.
Wow. Do you want her to watch those shows that have this, or do you want her to stay away from it? What do you suggest for her?
It's part of her training. This has trained her and evolved her to where she is. I think she needs to be more selective in who she watches. And if she reads the headline and senses that it's really there's going to be like some fear-based premise, then just avoid it. Just use her intuition more to guide her to where to go. But it's
Wow.
almost like she does like drama. She comes from the 80s. She grew up on soap operas. And so it's very difficult to turn down a good drama.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay. Let's see. Well, can you help her sleep now since she understands the fear? Can you release, you started releasing the fear anyway, but can you
Yes,
allow her to sleep again?
yes. And she does need a better sleep routine. She needs to start to go to bed earlier, make sure she's hydrated, and five 5 milligrams of melatonin. Try that for like the next 30, 45 days to kind of help her settle in. She won't need to take it every night, but it, especially in the winter where there's a lot less sunlight where she lives, by 45 days it should be into spring. So she may need to do that during the winter months just to help balance the circadian rhythm.
Wow. Is there anything else about this you want to tell her?
Um, it's just part of the the blueprint of the human. In ages and ages ago, we were much closer to the earth and we lived outside. Even in the colder climates, we were still exposed to the sun. We weren't wearing sunblock. We didn't have sunglasses. So, and she does have the beginnings of macular degeneration, and she knows this. And the eye doctor has told her, even recently last week, she got her eyes checked because she was worried about the circles. Everything's fine, except they're saying the UV light is damaging the retinas. She still needs to be outside and get, even if it's 5 minutes of direct sunlight on her eyes. If uh, she can treat her digestion and improve her digestion, she'll be able to eat more green foods and the nutrients in those foods, because she has difficulty digesting raw vegetables, even cooked ones sometimes. But if she can eat more of the greens, that is going to help her eyes. But she has a deep belief that she needs to be exposed to the sun, get some of that natural UV light on a daily basis. So if she can somehow do that even in these winter months, and it does not have to even be every day, it could be just a few times a week, but that's very important to her eyes and to her sleep. And the melatonin will kind of cover a gap, a bridge for not being able to live like we once lived. And go outside and get that natural light.
Oh, okay, that's so helpful. Okay. Um, what is the very root cause of her weight gain? She says she can't lose weight. She wants to lose 20 pounds. What's going on with her?
It's not fear directly, but because of the fear, her body is self protecting, and many empaths do carry extra weight. Some are quite large people, and they feel that they need this weight to protect their energy, as most of the weight is around her middle.
Mm-hmm.
So, energetically, she's feeling she needs some extra protection, and the fear that's in her body, the cortisol levels, especially as we age, the hormones do go off balance. So, because of the fear, cortisol levels have shifted, and her other hormones have estrogen, progesterone. So, it is causing her to hang on to this extra weight. But if she could again release some of the fear and not focus on dieting, focus on a healthy lifestyle, writing down what she eats, managing the portions, but not going to extremes of she's seen at least 10 or 12 nutritionists in the last 20 years. She's worked with she spent a lot of time and money and seen some, if little, results. That is not needed to achieve the results that she is looking for, the
Mm.
improvement.
Is there anything else about this you want to tell her?
That on the spiritual path, she's always had a desire to be a nutritionist and a trainer. And
Mm.
if she's able to, those are two of her passions, she may be able to incorporate all of this together and to not give up on that dream too. That is something that's, even though she's age 60, uh, we see a very bright future for her, and we encourage her not to give up on her dreams.
Oh, I love that. Well, now that she's aware of these things, can you release the weight for her? Can you just release it now that she understands, she's looked into it, she sees where it's coming from? Can you just release it for her now?
Yes, we can release it, and she will notice something very small in the next few weeks, but as she heals her digestion and reduces the fear, it will it will move much faster. The scale will move much faster because she's been so frustrated to do everything we've told you that she's doing, and to lose 1 pound a month is a bit defeating. So this will increase. The speed of weight loss will increase as she heals these parts of her digestion. Her diet improves. She's able to eat more
Oh,
vegetables. It's going to all work in synchrony and harmony.
well, that's amazing. Okay, wow. All right. What about her cancer prevention? She's taking tamoxifen. Do you want her to continue with that?
Because she's had so much fear of it returning, it will be beneficial for her to take it through her youngest son's graduation. She has wanted to make sure that she is there for her children's college graduation, but there is no worry there. There really isn't, but where she is working so hard to manage fear, this drug is not being destructive to her. It's not damaging her liver. It has some benefits for her bone health. She should take it for at least 1 more year. But after that, she will be well on her way to being healed, and she won't need it anymore.
Wow, okay, that's really, really good to know. Okay. Um, let's see. What about tinnitus?
She's heard that it's not so much a disorder, but that, and maybe Sarah can add her opinion to this, but when you get closer to the next dimension, it's been told through many interviews, it may not be fact, but that that is a side effect of like a spiritual growth, that you are either near another realm or there's some spiritual activity around
Definitely.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, um, she may experience it on and off as she grows and develops further in her spiritual journey. But it's not going to be anything that is negative, that it won't, doesn't impact her hearing, won't impact any sort of physical being. But she may experience it from time to time, but not to worry about it. It's not going to last.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know. And what about her allergies?
The allergies may need to be covered in another session. We're not 100% sure, or through meditation or Reiki.
Uh-huh.
There is a fear based route to it, but there may also be some past lives that we weren't able to explore today that could be part of that.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right. Well, we can revisit this. Let's
Yeah.
see. All right. What about her skin allergies? Is that in the same, or is there anything you want to tell her about her skin allergies?
Those should improve a bit. Even the other allergies should improve a bit with the decreasing in fear. A lot of it
Oh,
is
good.
being driven through those biochemical pathways that we just discussed. So it
Okay.
should improve, although she tends to see those seasonally in the summer when the humidity is high. So she may need to focus in and try to determine if it's fear or if there's something in her environment that she's unaware of
Well, can
that's
you
causing.
scan her environment and see if there's something in her environment? Could you look and see if, just so
Yes,
she's aware? Thank you.
yes. It has to do with humidity levels in the summer. In the winter months when it's dry, there is the rashes don't appear. She thinks it's coming from her dogs bringing in poison ivy or whatnot, but it's not coming from that. It's coming from two sources: dust mites, and the somehow her body is very allergic to them when the humidity is high. So if she can wash her sheets more frequently and perhaps get a dehumidifier in her
Oh,
room in the summer,
okay.
that should help with that.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really helpful. Okay, good to know. All right, well, now that she's aware of this, can you release them? Can you release the
Yes,
skin? Thank you. Okay. Is there anything else in her house that she should change to help her health?
the water, the town they live in, like many towns, has provided notices that there are chemicals that cannot be removed. So the family has switched to large units of water through a dispenser. If she has started this but did not follow through, um, she will know the correct company or technique, but the house would and the whole family would benefit from getting some sort of water filtration or some sort of hydrogen water, some sort of alternative water in the house would improve. And it's very good that they switched to bottled water, because the town, many towns in Massachusetts, that's the PFAS and those types of forever
Right.
chemicals that are,
Hmm.
they cannot get cleared. The town cannot clear them out to safe levels. And they sent notifications 5 years ago. And she just realized a couple years ago they never sent out a notice saying it was resolved. So they've switched over to like a water, Poland Springs water dispenser.
Wow. What do you feel would be the best type of water for her?
She should look into hydrogen water. She's been kind of interested in it, but the systems that are available are very, very expensive, and she is skeptical. So there's some way she could get a trial or a sale or something, or money back situation. The hydrogen water is something that could be a benefit to her.
Wow. So, looking into it right now, do you feel like this would be good for her?
Yes, yes, it may not be as beneficial for everyone in the family. Um, Maybe her younger son, who's also an empath, but definitely for her, even she could get a small unit just for her. Um, Not like a whole house supply, but just for her. It could be of benefit. It's something she should try.
Okay, that's really helpful. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, w switching now to like exercise for her, what exercise would you suggest she does that would be the best?
Walking and biking, and she doesn't need to do a lot of it. Um, 30, 40 minutes, 5 times a week. Pretty much what she has been doing now. She doesn't need to go overboard and run marathons or do high impact aerobics. The most critical part to the exercise routine is her weight training, and she should continue with what she's doing there. She had to take a break when she had this recent health flare, but she will be starting back up. So that's something in her best interest to try and weight train gently and gradually 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh, okay. Great. No, okay. Um, let's see. Well, as I continue asking her questions, is there anything that is not on her list that you just really want to tell her about?
Um, she's taken a lot of information, but I think one really important thing is that um, she really handpicked her mom and dad, and she loves them to pieces. And she's wondered about why her kids picked her, and it's just very similar reasons. We've all um, we're all part of a soul family group and have incarnated together and chose to come back down in this life. So she is was thinking, is that the case? And yes, indeed, that's the case.
Oh, um, is there any advice you want to give her about her children?
Let them be who they're going to be. You've already done a great job with releasing them, letting them be themselves, but you need, especially with Mark, your older son, he's graduating college this year. He's a very independent soul, and he really needs you to let him be independent. When he needs help, when he needs advice, he will come to you, but don't feel offended that there's not love there, there's not respect and trust. He is at a stage where he is loving his independence, and he needs it to learn who he is to become in this life. And for your younger son, that will come later. Right now, he is still very bonded to you, but you need to start learning to let him have more space too.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, that's really good, helpful advice. What about her and her husband? Have they lived together before? What do you want to tell her about him?
They have recently come together. They have not been reincarnating life after life. They had one life together, not immediately prior to this one, a few lives back, and they had some common goals and interests, and they wanted to come together in this lifetime and have a family. and have a
Oh.
life.
Is there anything that you would like her to understand about her husband or any things she could do that would better that relationship that she's not aware of?
He is a very old soul, older than myself, and he is very loving, but he is not a communicator, and not to be, he communicates enough, but not as much as I would like. So just let him own that. And my higher self is telling me that it's very proud of the growth that we've had over our marriage, or letting go of resentment and anger over having to be the main breadwinner, and looking at all of the great things that my husband does for me and the family and the love that we share. It took many years, at least 5, 8 years, for Cheryl to get over that, and she has put that behind her. So that was part of the lesson, and not only her, many women, as we've discussed, coming down. And it's that duality shift of the um, patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
Of the man. So there's been a shift, a noticeable shift. But with that shift, you can't have it both ways. If you want to assume some of the patriarchal roles, well, that's what comes with it. The
Uh-huh.
extra responsibility of being, in this case, a main earner. So you get to walk in the man's shoes and understand it's nice to be able to do that, but it's not easy, and there are
Mhm.
there are challenges with it. So understanding that dual role was something that they wanted to come down and learn about.
Wow, that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
What is her role with Gen Z?
Um, well, she hopes maybe someday to have her own podcast, or even just work with her children, are Gen Zers, and they have so much honesty and truth, and they're truth seekers,
Mhm.
and they are really going to help change this planet and reverse a lot of the uncomfortable and unlivable situations, wars, conflicts. They're actually going to really come down and change the world. So if she could somehow work with them in the future to share her knowledge, she would really like that, because she has children of this age, and um, she just would love to be able to guide them, work with them, and give them a helping hand to evolve the planet and grow the planet in a direction that is healthy and sustainable.
Wow. Where does a fear of uh, cruises come from, like going in deep water oceans?
Um, a little bit of Atlantis did come up for her when she was
Uh-huh.
regressing,
Uh-huh.
but it wasn't the tidal wave. I don't know where she could have been. Maybe she wasn't on a shore or on land. Maybe she was out on a boat where this happened. She's not really ready to hear about that yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
it could be something related to a sinking of a ship, because it does seem to be tied to being on a vessel, whatever that
Oh,
vessel may be. So maybe that can be explored down the road
okay.
as well.
Okay, wow, thank you for that. Okay, what about flying? Is there anything you want to tell her about this?
That isn't related to a past life. It's this life, just having anxieties and fears that have surrounded her, and have gotten like the mind viruses, etc. So we could release that fear today,
Thank
so she doesn't
Oh,
have that
perfect.
have that
Thank
worry.
you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let me know when you're done.
All set. And
Okay.
she is a child of the 80s. One more thing to tell her. Many generations have thought about the end of the world, but in the 80s, the Cold War was still
Uh-huh.
on, and there was so much talk of the world, annihilating itself. And so that is more of a cosmic consciousness fear that is rooted into her, and that could be some of this fear, although there hasn't been any plane crashes or real brushes other than one minor one. She hasn't experienced the fear of flying is not from flying itself, but in some of these destructive consciousness where flying explosions, things of that nature, they are somehow linked. So she
Okay.
could try and release some of that today. That would be really, really helpful because she used to
Oh,
have a lot
great.
of dreams as a teenager of the world ending due to nuclear disasters.
That would be really great. Thank you. Could you please release this for her?
Yes, we'll do that right now.
Thank you. Let me know when you're done.
All set.
What can she do to rejuvenate herself after this session?
She needs to drink plenty of water, a little more than at least another 24 ounces more than she normally would. And just relax. Don't work too hard. Don't try to predict what's going to happen. Just let things unfold. They will come to her, they will unfold, and not trying to line everything up in this perfect plan that will be dropped out of the sky in a portfolio binder for her to review. It will happen as it's going to happen, and to have patience and know that it will happen, but not to be worried about every detail. She's very detailed, being the Capricorn that she is. She's very detailed and likes to have control, um, so that she can avoid the fear. Need to
Mm.
trust.
Hey, thank you for that. Do you have any final messages for her? Is there anything else you want to tell her about anything at all?
That we're so glad she's done this regression. She's been over 5 years wanting to work with Sarah, trying to find the right person because of just obstacles in the way. And we're so glad that she's done this today. She sees this as a gift, as a present, especially just celebrating her 60th birthday. It's a big milestone, and that she's got so much life ahead of her, and she will have time to do the things that she hasn't had a chance to do with spirituality and the healing that they will come if she lets them and is open to them.
Wow. What is Shinto? What is that word Shinto?
I get the message. I am the force. I am in power. I am in control.
Okay, so interesting. Thank you so very, very much.
You're welcome. Thank
Uh,
you.
thank you.